Let me be clear. If you get headaches all the time and your first move is always a pill, you might be treating pain like a payday loan. Fast relief, hidden cost. Because headaches do not just hurt. They tax your focus, your patience, your output, your money, and yes, medicine absolutely has a place. But Mayo Clinic says non-medication steps can also help people cope with migraine, including a dark, quiet room, hot or cold packs, a small amount of caffeine, regular sleep, regular meals, exercise, and stress management. And Mayo also warns that using pain medicine too often can contribute to medication overuse headaches. That means your solution can quietly become part of the next problem. Nobody tells you this because it sounds boring compared with miracle hacks. But boring is usually where the money is. Boring hydration, boring meals, boring trigger control. That is what protects your brain from turning a manageable headache into a weekly performance leak. This video is about how to get rid of a headache without medicine when the situation is appropriate, and how to know when it absolutely is not. Stop blaming everything on stress. That word has become a junk drawer for people who don't want to audit their habits. Here's the truth. NHS guidance lists common headache causes like stress, alcohol, bad posture, eyesight problems, not eating regular meals, not drinking enough fluids, and taking too many painkillers. Mayo adds that eye strain from screens, glare, dry eyes, fatigue, and poor visual habits can also drive headache. So no, your headache is not always some mysterious curse. A lot of the time, it is a systems failure you keep repeating on schedule. And that matters if you care about money. Because if your headaches are coming from skipped meals, screen abuse, dehydration, or terrible pacing, then popping medicine without fixing the trigger is like patching a leak while leaving the pipe burst behind the wall. The pain may drop. The damage keeps billing you. Productivity hates recurring friction. And recurring friction is exactly what unmanaged headaches create. That's why the finance angle here is real. The fastest fix is not always the smartest one. You know this day. You wake up late, coffee first, no water. You tell yourself lunch can wait because you're locked in. Then it's 3 hours of screens, bad posture, shallow breathing, one more email, one more call, one more tab. By early afternoon, your neck is tight, your eyes feel cooked. Your patience is gone. And now the headache shows up like a collections notice. Not dramatic enough to stop you, just bad enough to make every decision slower. Then you do what high-functioning people love doing. You power through. You keep staring at the screen. Maybe you double down with more caffeine. Maybe you eat garbage. Maybe you take a painkiller and tell yourself you solved it. But if the actual triggers were dehydration, skipped meals, eye strain, tension, or overstimulation, then you didn't solve anything. You just bought a little time with interest. That is the trap. And it's why learning non-medicine relief is not crunchy. It's operational. Here's the brutal part. Most people treat the loudest symptom, not the first cause. The head hurts, so they target the head. But often the earlier signals showed up hours before that. Tight shoulders, dry eyes, missed meals, bright light, screen fatigue, too little water, too much caffeine, too much chaos. Mayo says eye strain symptoms can include headache, dry or watery eyes, light sensitivity, blurred vision, sore neck and shoulders, and difficulty concentrating. That means the headache is sometimes the final invoice, not the first problem. And here's the truth nobody tells you. If you train yourself to reach for medicine every time discomfort shows up, you can miss the pattern completely. Worse, Mayo says frequent use of pain relief medicine can contribute to medication overuse headaches in people with headache disorders and chronic daily headache. Guidance says if you're taking pain relievers more than 3 days a week, stepping back may be part of the solution. Translation, your rescue plan can become your trap. That's why the smarter move is not never use medicine. It's stop using medicine as your only diagnostic tool. So why can non-medicine relief actually work? Because a lot of common headaches are strongly tied to inputs. Tension-type headaches often feel pressing or tightening and are not usually worsened by routine activity. While migraine often comes with more sensitivity, more disability, and sometimes a need to lie down in a dark room. If the headache is being amplified by dehydration, missed meals, eye strain, light, poor sleep, stress, or neck tension, then fixing those inputs can change the pain. Not magically, not always fully, but enough to matter. That is why the boring stuff keeps showing up in real medical guidance. Mayo's migraine advice includes resting in a dark, quiet space, trying hot or cold packs, and even a small amount of caffeine for some people. The NHS recommends drinking water, relaxing, not skipping meals, and avoiding long eye strain from screens. 9 says biofeedback, relaxation training, meditation, and cognitive behavioral strategies can help manage headache-related stress, and says a doctor may recommend massage, physical therapy, or gentle exercise as part of a treatment plan. None of that sounds sexy. That's exactly why most people ignore it. Let me interrupt the fake debate. This is not an anti-medicine sermon. It is an anti-autopilot sermon. Medicine can be useful, sometimes necessary, sometimes the smartest move. But if your headache playbook is take something and ask 0 questions, you are not being efficient. You are being lazy. Mayo's guidance on caffeine is a perfect example. A small amount can help some migraine attacks, but too much caffeine or caffeine withdrawal can also trigger headaches and sleep problems later. Same substance, different outcome. Context decides whether something is a tool or a trap. Same with over-the-counter pain relief. It can help, but overuse can backfire. Same with sleep. Rest helps, but sleeping much more than usual can worsen some headaches, according to NHS guidance. Same with screens. Work matters, but extended screen use can strain the eyes, and Mayo says people tend to blink less when using computers, which contributes to dry eye and headache. The point is not perfection. The point is not perfection. Stop acting like every headache arrived from nowhere. So here is the no medicine protocol that actually earns its keep. Step 1. Water and fuel. Drink water. Eat something real if you've been running on fumes. NHS guidance explicitly says to drink plenty of water and not skip meals. If you're dehydrated, hungry, or both, you are not pushing through. You are sabotaging yourself. Step 2. Reduce stimulation. Go somewhere darker, quieter, and calmer. Mayo's migraine guidance recommends relaxing in a dark, quiet room and reducing light and noise when a migraine starts. That is not weakness. That is load management for an overloaded nervous system. Step 3. Temperature therapy. Try a cold or hot pack on your head or neck. Mayo says ice packs may ease pain and warm showers or hot packs can relax tense muscles. The right choice depends on the headache pattern and what feels better to you. Step 4. Unload tension. Slow your breathing. Loosen your jaw. Relax your shoulders. If gentle massage, neck work, meditation, or relaxation helps, 9 says those tools can be part of headache management. Step 5. Kill the trigger. Get off the screen. Blink. Reduce glare. Look far away. Mayo recommends eye breaks. The 20/20 rule, blinking more often and improving lighting to reduce eye strain. If your headache is an eye strain invoice, screen discipline is part of relief. But here's where people mess this up. If the no medicine steps do nothing, that is not failure, that is information. It may mean the headache is not mainly dehydration, tension, eye strain, or mild migraine overload. It may mean you're dealing with a pattern that needs a real diagnosis. Mayo says to see a doctor if headaches occur more often than usual, are more severe than usual, worsen or don't improve with appropriate use of over-the-counter drugs, or keep you from working, sleeping, or normal activities. The NHS also says to get medical advice if your headache keeps coming back. Painkillers do not help and the headache gets worse, or you have symptoms like blurred or double vision, numbness, weakness, or new severe pain. And if self-care does not relieve eye strain, Mayo says see an eye specialist. That matters because some headaches are really eye strain systems, glare problems, or vision issues you keep treating like random bad days. The goal is not to prove you're tough enough to suffer naturally. The goal is to stop guessing faster. Reality check. Some headaches are not rub your neck, drink water, and light a candle situations. Mayo says seek emergency care for the worst headache of your life, a sudden severe headache or a headache with confusion, fainting, high fever, numbness or weakness on one side, stiff neck. Trouble seeing, trouble speaking, trouble walking, or nausea and vomiting not clearly tied to flu or a hangover. NHS guidance also says call emergency services for a sudden extremely painful headache, sudden vision loss, trouble speaking or remembering things, drowsiness, confusion, or a very painful headache with a red eye. Let me be crystal clear. Without medicine is for appropriate headaches, not red flag headaches. If you have a head injury, fever and stiff neck, neurologic symptoms, a thunderclap headache, or symptoms that are different and severe, you do not need a hack. You need medical help. Immediately. The dumbest thing on the internet is pretending every health problem can be solved by a home ritual. That mindset is not natural. It's negligent. Now, the good news. For a lot of people, this is not mystery pain. It is pattern pain. And pattern pain is usually more beatable than random pain. If you start treating your brain like an earning asset instead of a punching bag, your decisions change. You protect sleep. You stop skipping meals. You drink water before the headache bill arrives. You lower glare. You take screen breaks. You notice when caffeine helps and when it's just creating tomorrow's problem. You keep a headache diary, because NHS and regional NHS guidance both point to headache diaries as useful for spotting triggers and patterns. That is not obsessive. That is adult maintenance. And yes, that is a mindset shift. You stop thinking, how do I kill pain fast? And start asking, why is my system billing me again? That question is worth money, because the fewer avoidable headaches you have, the less you lose in focus, mood, energy, and dumb recovery time. That is not just health advice. That is personal risk management. So, here's the bottom line. If you want to get rid of a headache without medicine, the SMART sequence is simple: water, food, calm, dark, quiet space, hot or cold pack, tension release, screen reset, and trigger tracking. Those steps are grounded in mainstream headache and migraine guidance, especially for headaches linked to stress, overstimulation, eye strain, dehydration, and routine migraine coping. But they are not a substitute for medical care when symptoms are severe, unusual, or getting worse. This video is for education, not diagnosis. If you want more brutally honest breakdowns on the invisible things that wreck focus, energy, and earning power, subscribe. Then watch the next video. And if you've got a non-medicine headache routine that actually works, or a trigger you finally figured out too late, leave it in the comments. That kind of pattern sharing helps more than most people realize.